Welcome back to Community Viewpoint. My name is Dr. Christopher Salute, and I'll be your host for the next couple of segments. I just want to thank KPVM for having me on the show, and of course, a thank you to Mikey Rooney for producing the show. I'm really excited to have a wonderful guest on our show today, and Sandra and I have just been kind of chatting about cruising and knee injuries and the wonderful things about Las Vegas and Pahrump, so you're just going to join our little coffee chat. Now, Sandra is the vice president of the MLK Foundation here in Pahrump. And if you don't know what the MLK Foundation is, you're about to learn. Now, Sandra, I am terrible at introductions, so I will remember all the impertinent stuff like you being a Sagittarius, for example. But I won't remember, that you're the vice president or that you're Sandra Fisher or whatever. So please tell everybody who you are.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Again, thank you for having me. My name is Sandra Fisher. I am the vice president of Pahrump MLK Foundation here in Pahrump, of course. And I recently was appointed to that position, in fact, in January. So my job here today is to let you know more about it and invite you to be a part of us. There's a lot of options to do that. So
Good. Now, I originally found out about the MLK Foundation. I went to one of your events, and I had the honor of auctioning. I was the auctioneer for the day, which was a lot of fun. It's a really awesome group, and the events that you put on are fantastic. Now, could you tell us a little bit about what the MLK Foundation does here in Pahrump for young folks? All
right. The MLK Foundation has a twofold purpose, but the overarching service is service. So one of the things we do is we invest in the future through providing scholarships, post-secondary scholarships for high school seniors some are a part of the high school, but you don't have to be. You can be homeschooled. You can be part of the community and educated in other ways. I know some people do online school. Mm-hmm. And so starting this month, we collect applications for the scholarship, and around about end of May, beginning of June, we go ahead and select from our options. Last year, we were able to give out 5 scholarships in the amount of $1,000 each.
Very cool.
And we found out later we had given out the most high school scholarships this past year.
Okay.
So we are always looking to double that. School is expensive. Mm-hmm. I like to tease that. So now they have pencils and paper. Mm-hmm. So we'd like to one day get up to tuition for our excellent students here in Pahrump. That's part of it. The other part is that we are a service organization in the vein of Dr. King. Dr. King was first a man of God and then a man of service. He made great sacrifices that all of us in this country and throughout the world, in fact, have benefited from. So we have a service component as well, and we are looking this year to develop that even more. We have a lot of community members who also serve on other communities. For example, Miss Dolores, who is a founding member of MLK, she serves with the Federation of the Blind. Yes. And then we have Riddell Samuels and her husband who serve with DAV. Mm-hmm. We do Martin Luther King, but we also are all involved in many other organizations.
Yeah, and as you know, right, if you've been around in Pahrump for even a day, you'll figure out that most folks who are involved with one organization are involved with many organizations. Now, speaking about Pahrump, how did you end up in Pahrump?
Well, I have a bucket list. Everybody has a bucket list, I imagine. And on that bucket list it goes way back. So on that list was when I retire, to live somewhere outside of California. And so I made my list, and first it was Barcelona.
Not a bad place.
Not a bad place at all. And then it was Nevada. And then, I don't even remember the third place now. But so I presented my list to my 2 daughters. They're currently ages 38 and 41. And I said, 42. And this is where I want to live. And they were like, you can cross that first one off. You can cross the second one off. I was like, well, no.
Right.
No, one of my things is to live out of state. I believe the other one was in a country kind of place. And they were like, well, fine. And I pitched my pitch that it's just an hour away. By the time I could be here in an hour from California, And they were like, ugh, whatever. And so I moved to Pahrump. I searched it out. My plan was to come in 2020.
Okay.
There were some health reasons why I could not
Some
come in
hiccups around
2020.
in
You may
2020.
remember COVID.
Yeah.
And so I started looking, and I got on the internet, and I said, well, I don't want to live in Las Vegas proper.
Well, it's starting to look like Los Angeles a little bit.
Isn't it?
The traffic, at least.
Oh, you haven't been to Las Vegas lately. I mean, Los Angeles lately. So I looked and I said, well, I did a 50-mile radius and then a 60-mile radius, and the town of Pahrump popped up. It was a retirement town, so that checked the box. And then I was sharing with one of my cousins that that's what I wanted to do. At a meeting at my uncle's house one Sunday, and we were talking, and his son just happened to be here from Texas. And so we were talking about it, and she says to her uncle, my cousin, she says, you know, Sandra wants to move to Las Vegas too. And he said, really? He said, where are you looking at? And I said, well, not really Las Vegas. It's sort of out. And he says, well, where? And I said, it's a little town called Pahrump. He said, I just bought a house there.
Wow.
So
That's
year
cool.
he moved here in 2020. A year later, I moved here, and we are neighbors.
Stop.
Here we are.
Very, very
3
cool.
blocks away from each other. And
Nice.
also during that time, he got married. He has a wonderful wife who likes to do a lot of things. And so she is part of the reason why I was able to get involved in some activities. And one of those is Miss Senior Golden Year. And one of the requirements of Miss Senior Golden Year is to have a platform of service. So that fit into what I like to do. And then because I was new, I decided that my platform would be to volunteer
Love
in
that.
different places to see where I could find a good fit. And so as a result of that, I met Doré. She was actually at the pageant in 2023, and she was passing out flyers for her event, and she shared what she did and with MLK, and I said, oh, that's something I think I'd like to do. And so after the pageant and the grandchildren and everything else, I got in touch with her, and I started going to the meetings.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Doré is without a doubt a trip. She has so much energy.
Doesn't
I love
she?
hanging out with Doré.
Yeah.
So I understand this. You can actually make a platform out of volunteering, because then I think, Mike, you do. I think I should get a platform. I feel like, because I volunteer a lot of my time.
Well, sir, you have to be
ma'am.
in the Miss Senior Golden Year pageant.
Okay.
And
I have some time.
you do,
Okay.
but you have to be 60.
Okay. We'll work on that.
Yeah,
Work on that.
so it's again, put that on your bucket list.
Yes, ma'am. So, Sandra, I love the MLK Foundation, and you had mentioned to me that it's a small group of folks.
Very small. Right now we have between 9 and 11 members, again, who are also involved in other activities. So one of our bucket list items for MLK is to get more members to come out. I'm also the chairperson for the membership committee. So this year we hope to offer a meet and greet where people can come out and just hear more about MLK. And we thank you because this gives us a chance to talk about MLK. But it really, really takes a village.
Yeah.
Did you go to the luncheon this year?
This year I didn't get a chance to. I was out of town, but last year I went to all your events, and I will continue to.
Oh, thank you.
No problem.
And you can join.
Oh, well, thank you.
You can join.
I probably will.
My personal invitation. But the theme this year was "We Are the World," and an old African proverb is that it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
But it also takes a village to build a community. And
Absolutely.
so hopefully we can get people to join us. We have some great support. And again, Miss Senior Golden Year, Seroptimus always gets tables. The rabble rousers, Red Hat rabble rousers participate. We have so many groups that participate by purchasing a table, asking what they can do. We have community members who offer the space, printing, all kinds of things that help us. But my new favorite country song is it says where those fans at, and then it says boots on the ground.
Yep.
So we need Martin Luther King fans to come in, and then we need boots on the ground to help out. And there are many, many ways to help out. I know there's a lot of committees in this town, there's a lot of events, but there's other ways to help too.
Yeah.
And so we hope to be able to really promote that this year and to my goal is to at least get up to 25 members by our
Love that.
next event. So that's what we'll be working towards.
Excellent. Well, count me in for sure, Sandra.
All right.
And now you had mentioned prior to the filming that you're still working on your website, but where can I find a little bit more about the MLK Foundation currently?
All right.
And the Pahrump specific chapter.
Okay, we do have a Facebook page.
Great.
That's up, and it's Pahrump MLK Foundation.
Search.
You can search it out. We also have an email, but we're more or less developing that as well.
Okay.
But we have meetings every third Monday. And our goal is to make sure that is in all the publications, that we put it on social media, to develop our social media more so that people will know when our meetings are. And you're more than welcome to come every third Monday, 3 o'clock. And
I just may, because I think the next one is at my campus.
oh, well, then there you are. There you are. That's good, because I didn't know where it was. We had been meeting at the library every month, but as you know, the library is being remodeled and upgraded, which is a wonderful thing for the city. I thought it was pretty beautiful already.
Yeah, it can only get better.
Yes, and so they were very gracious in allowing us to meet there. And so Artesian Cellars, which is a very big supporter of ours, they allowed us to meet there for them. So we thank Great Basin for allowing us to meet there now.
Absolutely, we're glad to. We're glad to. So if you haven't figured it out yet, you definitely want to do a quick Facebook search for the MLK Foundation in Pahrump, and I'm sure you'll see Sandra and her crew there. Do a ton of different events. Yeah.
Yes, we have 3 major events. Starting at the beginning of the year, we do the Martin Luther King Foundation Luncheon. It is on the third Monday, Federal Holiday Monday, which I believe is the third Monday of the year. And at the luncheon, it's a fundraiser, but it's also recognition of our community members who have been supportive. Earlier this year, we recognized a young gentleman who is very, very skilled at auctioning. You might know him, Mr. Ski.
Yes.
He was awarded an award, and he is very supportive. You can save this bottle of water for $50 when you know it's only 25 cents. So he's very, very supportive. And
excellent.
The next event we have is our fall event. Traditionally it's been a fashion show.
We love that.
And we get a lot of support from businesses. Sunflower Fashions is a big supporter of us. They donate prizes. They do footwork. They're part of our Boots on the Ground crew.
Cool.
And then we have, last year we were fortunate, thanks to Artesian Cellars and Miss Marla Kirsa, we had a mixer at Artesian Cellars.
Nice.
And we were chosen to be part of their First Friday program.
Love that.
And in that program, they pick a group in the community, and they have an event. There's music, there's food, there's raffle prizes, and we just had a great time, and they helped us raise enough money to do another scholarship.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Sandra, I want to thank you so much for being on the show. This is Community Viewpoint with Dr. Christopher Salute. Definitely take a look at Sandra and her group's MLK Foundation of Pahrump on Facebook, and websites coming soon. Just want to thank you for everything that you do in our community. So we appreciate you, and we appreciate you, our viewers. This is KPVM, Dr. Christopher Salute of Community Viewpoint.
Before we go, can I just say thank you to all of you who have supported us by buying tickets, by donating prizes, by just being present, volunteering, because those are the things that we want to emphasize to our youth, that we are a community and that we work together to make sure that they have a bright future. Thank you.
You got it, Sandra, and thank you. Welcome to Community Viewpoint, and thank you so much to KPVM and Mikey Rooney for having me on the show. My name is Dr. Christopher Salute, and I'll be your host today for the next couple of segments until they kick me off. I have a really exciting guest with me today. She'll tell you a little bit more about her name. I know her as Tiffany Ross. Tiffany is with Great Basin College, and Tiffany, the joke that I typically tell our millions of audience members is that I tend to remember the most trivial things but forget the important stuff. So I will remember that you are a winter season color person, but forget what your title is.
Because we were just talking about that
before. So why don't you tell everyone who you are?
Okay, so Christopher is actually my supervisor at the college. I am a recruiter for Great Basin College, and I recruit the southern region, basically everything south of Reno. So I spend a lot of time on the road. And I also have a lot of independent, various projects and a varied background. I'm doing some teaching at the college this fall in the 4 credit classes and some teaching in the continuing education department, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you want to share, folks, if they may know you as a different name around town?
So how that goes, they might know me as Constance. So what happened was I used to make money as a writer. And
one of the few.
When I was like living overseas, and I wanted to write about everything that was happening to me during my travels as I traveled all over the place. I've been to about 40 countries. I wanted to protect the privacy of the people I was writing about. So I changed my name and their names when I was doing my travel writing. And I made up my own name so I could have like a separate online presence for that writing name. And it kind of like compartmentalized my life a little bit. Before that, I used to be an actor with my real name too. So I didn't want those two things mixed up on the internet. So then I just started introducing myself as Constance because I liked the name. And then people just knew me as that.
Okay.
So it stuck for a few years, and I had always worked for myself, so it didn't make any difference. But then when I started working for the college, I had an HR department. Right. And they just were like, what do you mean? It sounds like a real name, but you have this other real name. They're like, I don't know. I think we need another background check. So
that's funny.
So I introduced myself to you as Constance because that's who I was for the last few years.
Right.
And then we had to go backwards and explain the whole thing. So now when people ask, I'm just going to send them this clip, and so I don't have to ever explain again.
Dual purpose, dual purpose. So thank you, Tiffany, for letting us know about that. And so, Tiffany, we're going to talk a little bit today about continuing education, but I want to get into for a moment, I always like to, Pahrump is such a rich place full of such drawing energy. How did you get here?
Well, my husband and I we wanted to live in the Southwest, and we decided now's the time before COVID happened. We had started a business. It was going really well. It grew quickly. And we thought, okay, we could do this from anywhere. Let's start looking for places. And so we did a bunch of research and we traveled around. We went cross country, I think, 4 times.
Wow.
And we were narrowing it down by a list of things that we had to have for our business. So we had a checklist, is it close enough to a large enough city that has supplies? Can we build a new market in that area? Is it close enough to markets that we can leverage? Is it the property cheap enough? Is all these things were on the list. So we narrowed it down to a couple of places in the Southwest, and Pahrump was one of them, and it checked most of the boxes. So we came out here and pretended to live here for a month. We bought groceries, kind of drove around, met the locals, and we just had a lot of discussions about what do you think of this, what do you think of that, and it turned out being the top town. So.
Interesting.
And I'm not even retired.
Right, I'm not even retired.
So, I know Zillow just gave it a #1, but I'm not even retired yet. So we came out here and we had a business with us. And that's how we got out here, is we came out here, bought a house with the money we made from our business, and brought the business with us.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So now, but your day job, right, is that you recruit for the college. And one of the things that you're really instrumental in and we're really proud of is starting to build out our continuing education classes. First of all, what are continuing education classes?
So continuing education classes are classes anyone can take, any member of the public can take, without having to apply to the college. So it actually goes through, it's both our teachers teaching it as well as some online classes that we just sell and accommodate the public. So you can get some Microsoft licensing, for example, online through Great Basin's continuing education program, but you can also go to the campus and take an in-person class with a local community member. They're also taught by people with experience from the community, not necessarily the faculty.
Right.
Of the college. Yeah. So community members are going to make the majority of the funds off the class fee. So you're actually giving directly back to some interesting people in your community.
Absolutely. So it's not really a huge money maker for the college. Why do we do it?
Well, we do it because we want to reach out to the community. We want education, lifelong education, to be accessible to everybody. And that is like a really key part of a school in any community, especially a higher education institution. We're not just for people who just got out of high school. In fact, 40% of our student base is what is called non-traditional students. Those are students who come back to college because after an interruption for whatever reason. Maybe they're changing careers, maybe they raise children, and they make up a very decent portion of our student base. And they also have an option for working professionals who just want to level up on their resume and stuff like that, that doesn't require you to go through the steps of becoming a college student. So we as a higher education institution, we have a burden of responsibility to provide that service for the demographic of this town.
Very cool. So we've spent a little bit of time talking about you and what continuing education is, but what's going on in continuing education over the next few months?
So the next class we have is taught by Shelley Oppen, I believe is how you pronounce her last name. So she, lovely lady, very experienced with equestrian arts. This is her second class teaching at continuing education. The second one got requested by her students.
Okay.
So this is Horsemanship 102, but you don't have to have taken 101 to join. Anybody can join.
To note.
So she'll review some of the basic information, but we don't have horses at the college, unfortunately. But we do have she's going to do like terminology and all that. And I think if you talk to her, she did offer as a caveat in the description an opportunity to visit her property and work with her animals after the class.
Absolutely.
But the initial class at the college is going to be like terminology, some like techniques, how to approach the animal, all of that.
Very cool. And now you're teaching a few as well.
Yes, I'm teaching one after that in April for 2 Saturdays called Navigating the Basics of IT. So navigating the basics of IT is, I'm not judging anybody who comes in that room. No judgment. You can bring all your embarrassing questions that you can't ask your boss. If you are retired and you never learned how to use your devices and you want that picture of your grandbaby, you come to that class. We're going to show you how with no judgment so that you can walk away with the basic skills that'll get you through your IT day.
Very cool. And now I know there are some other classes that'll be taught, Adulting 101, Gig Economy, but you have something special going on this summer as well.
Yes. So this summer I'm going to teach. So I mentioned briefly in the beginning that I have a background in performance. So I am going to be teaching a performance class this summer. It's going to, people are going to be cast as a character from American history, and it'll be great American speeches, and they will spend 9 days with me building a character. They'll have to build their costume. They'll have a small budget.
Wow.
And we will go over how to become that person. And then there'll be a public performance at a 4th of July event at the campus.
That is so cool. Where do you come up with some of these ideas?
I just, in the middle of the night, they come to me like a, light on a mountain. I don't know.
That's funny. I love that. So, Tiffany, one of the questions that I didn't get to ask Sandra because Sandra came in with a full script of what she needed to say. But I always like to ask folks, what'd you decide to come on the show for? What are you here for?
Well, one, you asked me, and you're my boss. Yes, sir. 2, I think it's fun. I've always liked participating in media, so this is not my first time on the news. So I am comfortable in front of the camera. I like, chatting. I love panel discussions. And this is like a great outlet for me to come in and just, hang out in front of in a studio.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So continuing education is going on at all times. How can I find some of these classes?
So it is possible to find them on our website. So if you go to gbcnv.edu, there's a search bar at the top of the website, and you type continuing education. The first link is what you want to click. That's the easiest way to find anything on our website.
Perfect.
Another thing you can do is stop by the campus. It's 551 East Calvada Boulevard, and just ask us, and we'll give you all the information you need. Sometimes it's easier to do that than poke around online, and we'll get you all signed up there. In fact, I had a gentleman come the other day, and we got him all booked on his CE class while in person. So if you have any issues, you can always come in and ask for help. And those are the 2 ways to find it. We'll be posting about it on our social media for the college, so you'll find the link there. And I guess you'll see some flyers around town, but in the end, always just come to the campus because we want to meet you anyway. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Tiffany. This was a really enjoyable segment to have Tiffany Ross here from Continuing Education at Great Basin College. This is Community Viewpoint. I want to thank you for watching, and I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Salute. Bye now.